Welcome everybody to the A.I.P channel where anything's possible. Tonight, we're going to talk about and dive into the so-called conspiracy theories that were once dismissed as nonsense, paranoia, or outright lies until hard evidence or official admissions forced the truth into the open. These aren't myths or half-truths. They are documented cases of deception, cover ups, and abuse, often by those in power. I'll lay each one out for you. What it was claimed, how it was denied, and, and how it was proved to be true. And all the gritty details that make these stories so damning. This is raw, unfiltered history. No sugarcoating, no protecting reputations. That's it. Number 1. MK Ultra, CIA's secret mind control program. The claim was the CIA was drugging, hypnotizing, and torturing people, often without their knowledge, to develop mind control techniques. This sounded like science fiction in the 50s and 60s. The CIA dismissed it as absurd, saying they'd never violate citizens' rights like this. Critics were labeled paranoid, but in 1975, the Church Committee, a Senate investigation into intelligence abuses, blew the lid off. Declassified CIA documents revealed MK Ultra ran from 1953 to 1973, over 20 years, involving over 150 experiments. They dosed unwitting subjects with LSD, subjected them to sensory deprivation, electroshock, and psychological torture. Universities and hospitals, even prisons, were involved. One victim, Frank Olson, a CIA scientist, died under mysterious circumstances, likely murdered to silence him. The program's goal: control human behavior for espionage and interrogation. The CIA shredded most records, but what survived is chilling. Number 2. The Tuskegee syphilis experiment. The U.S. government deliberately withheld treatment from poor African American men with syphilis to study how the disease ravaged their bodies. From 1932 to 1972, 40 years, the U.S. Public Health Service told participants they were getting free health care. Yeah, free health care. Yep. Don't worry about that, what y'all be asking for. Instead, they were lied to and denied penicillin, even after it became the standard cure. Officials called the study ethical, dismissing critics as misinformed. In 1972, an Associated Press investigation exposed the truth. 600 men were enrolled, over 400 with syphilis, and many died or went blind unnecessary. The government admitted the study was a moral failure, and President Clinton issued a formal apology in 1997. The experiment's legacy fueled distrusts in medical institutions, especially among the black communities, and is a stark reminder of how power exploits the vulnerable. Number 3. Operation Paperclip. Operation Paperclip claimed the U.S. government hired Nazi scientists after World War II, ignoring their war crimes to gain technological edge. The idea that the U.S. would cozy up to Nazis was called ridiculous. Officials insisted only clean scientists were recruited, but declassified documents in the 1980s told a different story. The Joint Intelligence Objectives Agency smuggled over 1,600 German scientists into the U.S., including Werner von Braun, a key figure in Nazi rocket programs. Many had ties to the SS and used slave labor. They were whitewashed, given new identities, and put to work on projects like NASA's moon program. The justification? Beating the Soviets in the Cold War. The cost? The moral compromise of a cover up that lasted decades until the truth leaked out. Number 4. COINTELPRO. COINTELPRO was the FBI's secret war on activists. The claim? The Bureau spied on, infiltrated, and sabotaged civil rights, anti-war, and other groups in the U.S. Of course, the FBI denied it, calling accusations overblown, insisting they had targeted legitimate threats. In 1971, activists broke into an FBI office in Pennsylvania and stole files exposing COINTELPRO. From 1956 to 1971, the program targeted groups like the Black Panthers, Martin Luther King Jr., and the anti-Vietnam War protesters. Tactics include wiretapping, planting false evidence, and even inciting violence. The FBI spread rumors to discredit King, pushing him to suicide. The Senate hearings in 1975 confirmed the program's scope, revealing a blatant abuse of power to suppress dissident. The files showed how far the government would go to silence voices it didn't like. Number 5. Operation Northwoods. Operation Northwoods is one of the most shocking. They claimed the U.S. military planned to stage terrorist attacks on American soil, blaming Cuba to justify war. In 1962, the Joint Chiefs of Staff proposed this to President Kennedy. The government denied such plans existed, called them unthinkable, but in 1997, the declassified documents revealed the truth. Northwood's plans to blow up planes, sink ships, and stage attacks in U.S. cities, all framed as Cuban acts of terror. The goal? Rally public support for invaded Cuba. Kennedy rejected the plan, but its existence showed how far military leaders were willing to go. The documents, released under the JFK Assassination Records Act, are a chilling look at a government's willingness to deceive its own people. Number 6. Tobacco industry cover-up. The tobacco industry's deception is next. The claim: cigarette companies knew smoking caused cancer and heart disease, but hid the evidence for profit. In the 1990s, tobacco CEOs testified under oath to Congress that nicotine wasn't addictive and health risks were uncertain. Critics were dismissed as alarmists, but lawsuits in the late 90s uncovered millions of internal documents. They showed companies like Philip Morris and R.J. Reynolds knew since the 1950s that smoking was deadly. They manipulated the nicotine levels to hook users and funded fake science to sow doubt. The 1998 Master Settlement Agreement forced companies to pay billions and release the documents, exposing decades of lies that cost millions of lives. Number 7. NSA mass surveillance. PRISM. The NSA's PRISM program claimed the agency was collecting phone and internet data on millions of Americans without warrants. Before 2013, intelligence officials like James Clapper told Congress no such program existed, at least not targeting citizens wittingly. The claims were called paranoid. Then Edward Snowden, an NSA contractor, leaked documents in 2013. They detailed PRISM and other programs scooping up emails, calls, and metadata for tech giants like Google and Apple. The Patriot Act enabled this, but scope stunned the public. Courts later ruled of the program illegal, and Clapper's testimony was exposed as perjury. Though he faced no consequences to his actions, Snowden's leaks forced a global reckoning on privacy, but the NSA's reach remains vast. Number 8. Exxon knew about climate change. ExxonMobil's climate cover-up is another corporate betrayal. The claim that Exxon knew fossil fuels caused global warming but suppressed the evidence to protect profits. The company claimed climate science was too uncertain for the action. In 2015, Inside Climate News and peer-reviewed studies uncovered Exxon's internal reports that from the 1970s. Their own scientists confirmed CO2 emissions were heating the planet. Yet Exxon funded think tanks and campaigns to deny climate change for decades. The revelations sparked lawsuits and public outrage, showing how corporate greed delayed action on a global crisis. Exxon's still fighting legal battles, but the documents are undeniable. Number 9. The Catholic Church Sex Abuse Cover-Up. The Catholic Church sex abuse scandal is gut-wrenching. The claim priests abused thousands of children, and the church moved predators to new parishes to hide it. Church officials call these isolated incidents or anti-Catholic attacks. In 2002, the Boston Globe's investigation uncovered systematic abuse in Boston, sparking global revelations. In 2018, Pennsylvania grand jury reported documented over 1,000 victims and 300 priests in one state alone. Bishops and even Vatican officials knew and reassigned abusers. The church paid billions in settlements, and Pope Francis admitted the cover-up in 2018. The scale, decades, thousands of victims. Global reach shows the institution prioritizing its image over children's safety. I would say maybe hundreds of years. They're doing for all them decades, probably for hundreds of years. Number 10. Project Sunshine. Project Sunshine sounds like a horror movie that claimed the U.S. government stole dead bodies to study nuclear fallout effects. The authorities denied unethical practices, blaming any issue on miscommunication. In the 1990s, though, declassified documents revealed the truth. From the 1950s to 60s, the government took tissue, bones, and limbs from over 1,500 deceased children and babies, often without family consent, for radiation studies. The Atomic Energy Commission ran it to understand the fallout from nuclear tests. The calluses targeting vulnerable families and morgues shocked the public when exposed. It's a grim example of science without ethics. Number 11. Prohibition of alcohol poisoning. During the Prohibition, the claim was the U.S. government poisoned alcohol to stop illegal drinking. Officials denied it, blaming deaths on bootleggers' sloppy work. Though historic records later confirmed shows otherwise. From 1926 to 1933, the government maintained adding stronger poisons like methanol to industrial alcohol, knowing to be diverted to bootleggers. Over 10,000 Americans died from drinking tainted liquor. The policy was meant to deter, but it was effectively state-sanctioned poisoning, targeting the poor and desperate. The truth emerged through archival research, exposing a brutal tactic. Number 12. Gulf of Tonkin Incident. The Gulf of Tonkin incident fueled the Vietnam War. They claimed the U.S. exaggerated or fabricated North Vietnamese attacks on its ships in 1964 to justify its escalation. The Johnson administration insisted the attacks were real. Declassified NSA documents in 2005 proved otherwise. The first attack happened, but the second used to pass the Gulf of Tonkin resolution was based on shaky evidence exaggerated by the military. The resolution gave Johnson a blank check for war, costing him millions of lives. The lie, buried for decades, showed how far leaders would go to sell a war. Military global industrial complex full effect. Number 13, Operation Mockingbird. Operation Mockingbird claimed the CIA infiltrated U.S. media to shape public opinion. The agency and outlets like the New York Times denied it, calling it absurd. The 1975 Church Committee uncovered the truth. From 1950 to 1970s, the CIA paid journalists, planted stories, and influenced major media. Over 400 journalists and dozens of outlets were involved, pushing the Cold War propaganda. The program's exposure showed how the governments manipulated the free press, eroding the trust in media that persists to today. Number 14, the Watergate scandal. Watergate is a classic. It claimed Nixon's administration spied on political rivals and covered it up. Nixon called it a third-rate burglary with no White House ties. An investigation from 73 to 74, fueled by Deep Throat's leak to reporters, proved otherwise. Taped White House conversations show Nixon ordered the break-in at Democratic headquarters and orchestrated a cover-up. The scandal led to his 1974 resignation, the only U.S. president to resign. It exposed the rot of political corruption and the power that is so easily abused by the highest levels. Number 15, the Iran-Contra affair. The Iran-Contra affair was a Reagan-era mess. They claimed the administration sold arms to Iran and illegally funded Nicaraguan Contras. Reagan and aides denied it, called it baseless. A 1986 investigation and Oliver North's testimony confirmed the scheme, though. The U.S. sold weapons to Iran under an arms embargo to free hostages, then funneled profits to the Contras, bypassing Congress. The affair exposed illegal foreign policy maneuvers and shredded Reagan's image, though he avoided direct blame. Number 16, the Hillsborough disaster cover-up. In the UK, the Hillsborough disaster cover-up is infamous. They claim police falsified evidence to blame fans for a 1989 stadium crush that killed 96 people. Police insisted fans' behavior caused the tragedy. A 2012 independent panel report revealed South Yorkshire police altered statements, spread lies about drunken fans, and botched the response. The truth cleared victims' names, led to new inquests, exposing police corruption and media complicity in spreading false narratives that still go to this day. Number 17, Pat Finucane murder collusion. The Pat Finucane murder is a deep chapter in UK history. They claim the British security forces colluded with loyalist paramilitaries to kill the Irish lawyer in 1989. The government denied state involvement, blaming rogue paramilitaries. In 2012, a report by Desmond de Silva, Prime Minister David Cameron's admission, confirmed shocking levels of collusion. Security forces applied intelligence and weapons to loyalists, targeting Finucane for his human rights work. The case exposed the state-sponsored violence during the Troubles. Number 18, the Bohemian Grove. Bohemian Grove sounds bizarre, but it's real. The claim elite men meet in a California forest for secret rituals and networking. Critics called it a harmless social club. Conspiracies about global agendas were mocked. Though in 2000, Alex Jones infiltrated and filmed a ritual called the Cremation of Care. Leaked attendee lists confirmed presidents, CEOs, and military leaders attend annually. Without no hard evidence proves world domination plots, the secrecy and power concentrated there raise questions. It's less about the rituals and more about the unchecked influence. Number 19, FBI surveillance of John Lennon. The FBI surveillance of John Lennon claimed the agency targeted him for his anti-war activism. The FBI denied singling out celebrities for political views. Declassified files in the 90s, though, showed otherwise. From 1971 to 72, the FBI monitored Lennon's phones, followed him, and tried to deport him for his anti-Vietnam War stance. The files released after legal battles proved the government saw his influence as a threat, exposing their obsession with controlling the dissent. Number 20, business plot, coup attempt, the 1933 coup attempt. Finally, the business plot, the claim that wealthy businessmen plotted a fascist coup against FDR in 33 to install a dictator. It was dismissed as ravings of Smedley Butler, a retired general, but Butler's 1934 congressional testimony, backed by partial document corroboration, confirms a plot involving figures like Prescott Bush. They planned to use veterans to seize power, inspired by European fascism. No one was prosecuted, and the full scope remains murky, but the evidence shows a real attempt to subvert democracy. And Prescott Bush, yes, grandfather and father to the Bush's presidencies, yes. These 20 cases from MK Ultra to business plots show a pattern. Governments, corporations, and institutions lied, mocked skeptics, and buried the truth until leaks, whistleblowers, or investigations forced it out. They cost lives, trust, and justice. The learning lesson: question official narratives. Dig into primary sources and declassified documents, court records, leaked memos. Power protects itself, and the truth about often comes at a cost. What do y'all think on that? That's uh, that's a lot. That's a lot of uh, conspiracy theories that have completely been proved true, and there are many more other ones, but that's just the top 20 right there. Um, I wanted to see what y'all think. Um, if y'all would like to see a deep dive in any one of these individuals, we've done MK Ultra. If you'd like to see any of the other ones, bleep bloop down in the comments, and we'll sure do a deep dive on them. Um, as always, appreciate y'all listening. Check out the links in the description uh, to the Troubled Minds Radio Network, where we are syndicated with many other shows. Check out the merch store, get you a hat or a shirt, and check out the Discord. We got several great people on there. We're sharing cool stuff, and it's a small Discord right now. We're steadily growing it, and so as always, y'all keep on keeping on, and the peace and the chicken grease. Y'all be good.